Good morning, everybody. I think I'm live. The Zoom isn't showing me that I am, but I'm guessing Facebook is showing that I am. So welcome to Living Astrology with Janet Hickox. Grab your cup of coffee or your tea, sit back, and let's chat about what is happening up in the stars above. It is Friday. I'm not sure that that's something that we'll all cheer because a lot of us are not working. Well, I'm working, but a lot of people are not working. So what's different about the weekend, right? I mean, we have to find ways to differentiate the days at this point in time because they're sort of blending one into the other, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. I think it kind of aligns us to more of the natural timing of the universe and of nature, etc. In fact, I was musing this morning as I was making my cup of coffee, second cup of coffee, and because my husband always makes my first one, and I was glancing out the window. I wasn't glancing, I was actually gazing out the window. And my neighbor has a pear tree and a plum tree and a couple of cherry trees. And I was so amazed how bright white the flowers on the pear tree was. And I went, isn't that interesting? If we look around us, nature is carrying on just as it would any springtime. I mean, it's spring for us here in the Northern Hemisphere, so the trees are starting to bud. And of course, the pear tree is starting to show its beauty, right? Before the pears. And in that natural beauty and in the natural order of its getting into bloom, it is not paying any attention to the stresses, the tensions, the anxiety of the human beings of the world who are stressing and anxious and, worried about the way things are going on the planet. So it was very heartening, I think, to see that life goes on, right? That this too shall pass and that we will be able to move forward. And in this moment, we should just be enjoying every moment of where we are and holding our hearts close to those who are, suffering with the virus or who are working their hearts out to try to heal the people who are sick, and those in our local governments who are trying their level best to keep things running and to get supplies in and so forth. But there's no need for us to go into the stress of all of this because life is going on, right? Life is going on. And as we start moving forward here in time, notice the trees, notice what the animals are doing. They're not noticing even for 1 minute that the coronavirus is taking its toll on humans, right? So that was heartening for me to see the tree, to see that, nature, everything is going on as it should out there in the world. So I am hoping everybody's doing well this morning. I see Tom. Commiserations, Jacqueline. Let's see what's going on with Jacqueline. She says, hello, sending love to all. Please keep me in prayers. My mom passed this morning. Oh, Jacqueline, I'm so sorry. And our hearts and our souls are with you in that. And hopefully her passing was easy. And she is now moving on with her angel wings. Wow, way to start the day, right? So know that all of us are with you, right? We're all with you in this. We are waiting anxiously here today to hear whether my daughter has tested positive for the coronavirus. Luckily, she is young and her symptoms are already easing up. So that's good news. And hopefully I'm hoping she tested negative, but if she tested positive, this will be so fascinating because she had the very same symptoms that my husband had, and they refused to test him. And it's interesting that I haven't received that. Thank you very much. I actually had a chat with the virus and asked it to to move beyond me, that I really didn't need to experience the virus. I was very happy not to experience it. And I don't know that he had it for sure, but seems like it. Okay, so Jacqueline says, no pain. My sister held her in her arms. Oh my goodness, you're going to make me cry. Debbie, my deepest sympathy to you, Jacqueline. I'm so sorry for your loss. We're all sending you prayers and all of that. So, okay. Well, we have a job to do this morning, and that is to talk about what is happening up in the sky above. And Jacqueline, thank you so much for sharing with us that very tender moment. And we still will hold our hearts and souls with you during this time. Today, we have the moon in Taurus still. And later in the day, of course, we have two major transits occurring, one with Venus in a trine to Pluto that bridges over into tomorrow, and tomorrow's Venus in a trine to Pluto. So we have, did I say Jupiter? Jupiter and Pluto. Sorry, my mind is off somewhere else at the moment. So the moon in Taurus today is actually making really good connections to both Mercury and Neptune in the sign of Pisces. So we have a sextile, if you will, between those two planets and the moon. And I think that brings us more into that loving spiritual connection, our heart connection that we have with everybody. And in that, then it's much easier for us to communicate from the soul or to communicate from the heart, to really see and feel what other people are seeing and feeling, to sort of tap it into the heart that connects us, to the energy field that connects us all in this particular planet. Today's Pleiadian-Earth energy is 5 exploring. Exploring energy in the Mayan calendar was Ben, and Ben was the representation of a reed or a stalk, right? A stalk, and how it is that the reed needs to have flexibility while also maintaining its integrity, right? Its ability to stand straight and tall, but also needing to yield somewhat to the winds and the flow of water so that it doesn't fall over, right? So this energy of today is about an opportunity for change, being flexible and being adaptable and being able to move and bend and yield and flow with the energy of the day, whatever it is that's presented to us, while not falling over completely or breaking. So the change opportunity that we have today is about changing your path or adjusting your intentions. We've just come through the new moon window, so we've likely set some intentions, or maybe just, some key ideas of things that we wanted to accomplish or have happen for us over the next several weeks. And this will be the time to do a minor little tweaking of that, tweaking your or adjusting your intentions. This really highlights for us or crystallizes that power of choice. We talked about that yesterday. I think that's interesting that we have 2 days in a row, one where the universal energy today is bringing that to us. And yesterday it was the earth energy reminding us of our power of choice, and that our ability to choose is really what drives how we experience the planet, right? So we can choose in any moment how we respond to whatever it is that life is throwing to us, or whatever curves it is that life presents us with. So the power of choice, very important in today's 5 energy, the universal energy. This is also about expansion through movement. The 5 energy refuses to stay still. And in that, we have to become more flexible and adaptable to whatever conditions are around us. The exploring energy of the day is about presenting us with new ideas, with reviewing all of our options. So there may be several things that are presented to you today, but we review those options. We investigate the new, and we look at what more is possible. How can we make things better? How can we improve ourselves and our condition? And in improving ourselves, how does that play out in helping improve the people around us, or improving the environment that we're in? We're focusing on integrity. Remember, the earth today is still sitting at the gate 18 in your human design. The gate 18 is the gate that sits on the spleen that we talked about. It could double as a fear of perfectionism, or the judgment that we all have at times brought about in our lives, either judging ourselves or others. But literally, this is about staying in integrity, being true to yourself, gaining in self-confidence, right? So I know a couple of people, friends, no names needed here, who are, a little scared about some things that they are doing over this weekend, new experiences in speaking or presenting material. So this really bodes well. This helps you to gain that integrity or gain confidence. Let's say it this way. This is the energy that helps you gain self-confidence by staying in integrity, being true to you, being you because you know how to do you best, right? You're not someone that can do what everybody else does because you're unique, right? So do you. And recognize that anything is possible, right? Anything is possible in a day like today when we greet that energy with an open mind, but more importantly, perhaps, is an open heart. All right, I'm going to go check back in and see what people are saying over here in Facebook. Good morning, Colleen. Amy Moore, good morning. Good morning, Lex. Lex, question for your comment for you. Your mother reached out and connected with me yesterday. And I didn't have your email address, but I emailed your chart and human design report to her. So hopefully she can get that to you. And if for some reason when she sends that to you, if it doesn't work right, let me know, email me, and I will respond to you. So with your chart and your report. So there you have that. Let's see who else is checking here. Oh, you did get it. Good, 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 good. And I believe you were one of the people that we looked at yesterday, as a reflector. So your chart may look pretty blank, but trust me when I say there is a lot going on in the depths of that chart. Good morning, Natasha. Good to see you. Make sure you check your email for me, Natasha. I have to reschedule our meeting for today as I have other things that I'm doing, and that link wasn't supposed to work and it did. My bad. So please check your email. And let's see what else is going on behind the scenes here this morning. I think that's it for the moment. But good morning to all of you. If I've missed anybody, Laura Boynton, Wolfberg. Oh, Laura and Lex, mom and daughter. Love it. Let's get together as a family, right? And listen to astrology. I love it. Okay, so what else can we expect from the day today? Well, remember yesterday we chatted a bit about Mercury in a semi-square to the planet Pluto. Now, that is still with us today. That energy was bridging over the 2 days because in my time zone, it began yesterday or late last night. In the East Coast and Europe, it was later, which puts it into today. Now, remember, a semi-square is a 45-degree angle between planets. And when we're talking about planetary energies or transits, we are talking about the relationship that they have with one another. We're talking about the relationship they have to the energy of between the planets and between the signs that those planets are inhabiting at the moment. Sometimes those are real positive relationships, like a sextile or a trine. And sometimes they're a little more scritchy or irritating. For example, squares are very much challenge oriented or obstacles that are presented on our path. And other transits that are astrologers consider them more minor would be things like the semi-square that Mercury and Pluto are engaged in today. Well, a semi-square being a 45-degree angle on its way to being a full-blown square presents us with tension and kind of an irritation, that something, that rock in your shoe feeling, or that splinter you might get, and that it's there and you can't get it, but it's still irritating. It's like overblown pain from something so small and seemingly innocuous that you're like digging at it, trying to get it out. That's the feeling that we have going on right now with Mercury in a semi-square to Pluto. We have tension, we have mental stress, and we have worry, right? Mercury rules the mind. Pluto rules those very traumatic and dramatic energies of transformation, of death, and of rebirth. And isn't that interesting that some people, they're really coming face to face now with the the breadth of the coronavirus and how it's affecting us, both from an economic standpoint and the death toll standpoint, and just the illness in and of itself, and how its disruptions are, affecting all of us at this point in time, right? Big and small, kids, the elderly, and all points in between, we're all being affected by this virus, and it tends to put that pressure on us to relieve the stress somehow. We may become overly obsessing over something, especially over things that are out of your control, right? I found myself, I woke up this morning and I was stupidly obsessing over a comment that somebody made. And I'm not even going to go there with who it was or what it said, but I went, oh my God, Janet, align your heart with your mind right now, because you're getting out of control in this thought that is just going over and over and over again. Remember that Pluto and Jupiter sitting at the gate of psychosis. I did not want to be a participant in that psychosis. It's hard enough, right? That we don't need to add our energy, our light, and our life force to that, because it's already out there. And so we, in a moment, can become a different person when we choose to let go of those thoughts that can push us into that obsession, or that can push us into worry and stress. We also have the influence of the South Node having just moved into the gate 10 on your human design chart, which is the gate that we think of as the love of self in its lowest expression, its lowest frequency, its fear frequency, if you will. It is self-obsession, right? So the gift in the self-obsession is when we become very natural about who we are, right? And about how we show up in the world. So we have some really positive potential, but the force of what's happening around us is skewing us more to the negative, I think. So it is a good reminder every time those thoughts pull in to just come back to your heart and realign your heart and your mind, so that you don't get stuck in that worry and that stress, that mental sort of, message that goes round and round in your head, where it becomes obsessive, right? Okay. So also, we are moving out of that energy over the weekend and into Venus transits with both Jupiter and Pluto. So Venus is in the sign of Taurus, and it will trine. And a trine is a 120-degree angle between the planets. It is a smooth flow of energy. It is an ease and a flow, let's say. And that ease and flow can often be a good thing, but as often happens in a pandemic or an epidemic, it can turn an epidemic into a pandemic. It can turn an outbreak into an epidemic and into a pandemic. We've seen this, we've lived this, we're living this right now, where Jupiter can overblow things. So as that is Jupiter is coming into contact with Venus this weekend, and also with Pluto, that puts the spotlight on our relationships. So on Saturday, while we still have the moon in Taurus, which is Venus's territory, so Venus rules Taurus, so the moon is in a nice alignment with Venus at that point in time. So our focus turns toward our relationships. It is hopeful and thoughtful energy in its highest best. It is optimistic and generous in its highest and best. But if it transits into the lower extremes or the lower frequency energies, this can turn into overblowing something. So maybe an irritant, right? We're all kind of locked in together, at least some states. I don't know about all the states, but for a good chunk of the country, we're in a self-quarantine state or a social distancing state. We might be, in our state, it's called stay home, stay healthy. So we're in a stay home, stay healthy state. So we're close together, right? And we're not able to often distance ourselves very far. So things that are minor can get overblown. If that's the case, if you feel yourself moving in that direction over the weekend, get lost. Go somewhere else. Get lost in a book. Go outside and do some gardening. Go for a walk. Do something, right, that changes up that energy. Because even though Saturday is the Venus trine Jupiter day, it's still pretty darn close to the trine with Pluto. And as we know, Pluto and Venus coming together can make for very emotional interactions. And the relating to one another can take on emotional proportions, misproportions even. I wonder if there are more financial hits coming as Venus is slowing down, getting ready to enter into her retrograde zone next month. She doesn't retrograde until May, but as you know, any planet that's approaching in their retrograde zone begins to slow down. And that means we have this energy with us for a longer period of time. Usually Venus transits, are second to the Mercury in terms of how quickly they pass. But in this case, it's going to linger a little bit with us. There's intensity and passion in this as well. So maybe funneling your energy into pursuits that you love, that you're passionate about, to avoid having to, get into more of the intense feelings of upset that might be generated by this energy as well. It could be, I noticed, I took note this morning of the stock market before I came on because I was thinking to myself, the last couple of days we've had these little bump ups. And I'm thinking that those are sort of false hope bump ups, as in, I'm thinking there's something bigger going on in the financial, in the economy, in the stock market, and in the futures, which often are what determine what the stock market is going to open at. And sure enough, there was an issue going on this morning in the stock market. I believe we're going to have more of the same. And then I also am wondering how Venus's retrograde is going to affect that. Again, not to get into fear, not to get into upset or angst over it, but just to recognize that, these are corrections, right? These are course corrections that we are experiencing. They happen from time to time. And I also know that it's an interesting timing because most astrological financial astrologers, let's just put it that way, would not have predicted that this intensity of this financial problem, not until 2026 actually was the next recession-oriented energy meant to be shown through the astrology. But there's no predicting what happens when we refuse to learn the lessons. And it was just 12 years ago when Jupiter, again in Capricorn, took down our economy. So we have a matching picture, Jupiter in Capricorn in 2008 and Jupiter in Capricorn right now. That time it was a mortgage bubble and forgot what the other one, banking bubble. That's probably the wrong term. And now it's a coronavirus that is creating havoc, but it shows us quite eloquently where we did not fix the problem that was brought to our attention back in 2008. So here we have a more stringent lesson to learn. Will we learn it this time, or will we need some more lessons later? So Venus and Pluto asks those questions, brings us to that brink, and we'll see what happens through the Venus retrograde cycle after we get out of it in June. So again, retrograde, remember, we go forward through something and then the planet turns retrograde, which means from our position here on Earth, it appears to be moving backwards. It stops at its certain point and then it turns forward again and moves back through the same territory, as if to say you have several opportunities to learn this lesson. Learn it now or pay the price later, right? That's the whole thing. So we have that coming at us. We may start to see and hear more about that. We may start to hear and see things about the economic stimulus package that may or may not have any good effect on the economy. It may not help us avoid that recession. I guess we just have to wait and see. But again, the point in me even bringing this up to you would be for you to be prepared, right? To do those things that you can do that are in your power, to be conservative, to be a good steward of your resources, right? Be a good steward. Let's not hoard. Let's not pull all our money out of the banks. Let's not pull all our money out of the stock market, but let's be good stewards of those resources, right? Follow your intuition and listen to that inner voice that tells you the truth about things that are happening. Okay, before I go on with the other information for Saturday, let's take a look out there. Amy says, yes, I have Venus trine Pluto in my natal chart. Imagine me learning about astrology. Ooh, what comes naturally to me? Failed relationships and marriages. Oh, my heart goes out to you, Amy, because those are difficult lessons sometimes, right? Those can be very difficult, but I want you to understand, remember when Rebecca, I hope you were on the other day when Rebecca Eigen was with us, and she was talking about what goes on in relationships are really mirrors to us of what's going on within us. And if you look at the marriage, let's say, what was the cause of the failure? Right? If you look at it objectively, not with beating you up or beating the other person up, but if you looked at it objectively, what were the failures that you can see in that? And what was the other thing you said? Failed marriages and relationships. So take all of your relationships, all of your marriages, and look at them. Are there common denominators? Are there common things, right? Because what you're doing is throwing that out there into your relationships for you to see more clearly and heal within you, right? So don't beat yourself up. Don't think you're doing something wrong, but that Venus trine Pluto in your chart is helping you to learn some very powerful lessons about where you're hiding some stuff in the dark. Pluto, remember, rules the underworld. It rules the dark. It rules the part of ourselves we don't see clearly, the shadow and all of that, right? So what are you secretly holding on to that you need to be able to release and to be able to move through? So I hope that helps a little bit, Amy. Lex, I do have a lot of squares in my natal chart. Well, you're here to do some big things then, I would say, Lex, because those squares cause you to move through those obstacles. That gives you the energy, the fight, the will to keep trying, right? To persevere and to endure. The only thing I would say is be careful with that as a reflector because of the energy, right, that it takes to do that. Amy or Debbie Tibbetts, good morning to you. Tibbetts Tumiel, sorry. Ilaria, good morning. After experiencing how good your infos are doing for me and my friends I share your video with, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm dedicating last posts on my Facebook and Instagram page at Cosmic O Libri, supporting people how to navigate emotions during this time. Wow. Okay. So Ilaria, maybe you can share some of that information with my listeners here. I invite you to post those. And if my Facebook page won't let you post, send them to me personally, Janet at living-astrology.com, and I will post them for you. And very good. Okay. So let's go on to what else is happening on Saturday. So the moon in Taurus on Saturday will be void, of course. Of course, it will be. We know we've been in Taurus for a couple of days now, and something's going to change. So the moon in Taurus is void from 4:06 p.m. West Coast time to 6:39 p.m. West Coast time. So about two and a half hours, and then shifts out of Taurus and into Gemini. Now, while in Taurus, so earlier in the day, the moon will come into a trine with Jupiter, a conjunction to Venus, a trine to Pluto, and a trine to Mars. Somehow I left the S off that, and I'm looking at that going, what? So a trine to Mars. So remember those energies that we just talked about that were in effect on Saturday with Venus in a trine to Jupiter and a trine to Pluto. Well, look who else is engaged, the moon. The moon brings us those emotions, those very powerful emotional energies. And also then trining Jupiter in a conjunction to Venus, which is in a trine to Jupiter, in a conjunction to Venus that's also trine Pluto, and then also a trine to Mars. So there is the potential there for some overt and covert relationship wrangling, let's say, that could go on here, but also the potential for us to move through a whole lot of that stuff to release maybe some things that have been, caught up, that we've been caught up in, that emotional tension. In Gemini, the moon later in the day, then, or late evening for those of you on the East Coast, will trine Saturn, and likely we wake up a little bit with that hangover of the trine of the moon to Saturn, because sometimes that puts a damper on our energies a bit. And likely, if that is happening to you, I'm going to trace that back completely to your heads, right? To your minds, because Aquarius is an air sign. That's where Saturn is. And the moon will be in Gemini at that point, which is also an air sign. It's all up here in your head. You got to move that thought processes along their way, get them moved on out, and refresh your mind, reframe your mind into a different angle. Monique, relationship wrangling. Yep, that's right. I like that word, wrangling, right? So, I can almost see how, how when you're stuck together, right? There's not a whole lot you can do. So it kind of over exaggerates maybe where there are issues in your relationships. It might over exaggerate the feeling that you have of irritation. And with Mars involved, that also might turn that into easily expressed anger or upset. So just be careful, be kind, be tender, be gentle with yourself, but also with those people that are in your home with you or in your environment with you. Knowing that everybody's on edge a bit and can possibly be expressing things in the more negative as opposed to the positive. And you guys listening to this could be in a position to totally change the way the energy is playing out because you're in the know, right? Now, also on Saturday, if we look at the Pleiadian-Earth energy for that day, it is 6 healing energy. Healing energy in the Pleiadian calendar was equivalent to Ish in the Mayan calendar, which there's Sadie over my shoulder there. Ish was the jaguar, and also representing the high priest or priestess, the shaman. So there's magic in the air as well. There's magic in the potential of Saturday's energy. Now, the 6 is the energy that's universal. So no matter what life form you are, no matter where you lived in this cosmic universe, you would be flowing with that, or you would be resonating with that energy of flow, which is what the 6 represents. The energy of flow develops, refines, and improves itself through interaction. So, it is through our talking things out. It is through our willingness to change or to see another side of something that we adapt and we grow and we change, right? So that's what the 6 will bring us to. This is energy that cannot be constrained. So take note of that, right? This is almost like emotional energy. In the book, The Pleiadian-Earth Energy, let me show that to you guys. This is the book I use every morning, Pleiadian-Earth Energy Astrology, Charting the Spirals of Consciousness by Pia Orlean and Colin Baird Smith. They together, it's interesting because they don't channel this group of Pleiadians called Larkma separately. They can only channel together, which I find so fascinating. It's almost like their energy comes together as a couple and it opens up the channel to the Pleiadians and they bring in this energy. So in this, they are talking about how this energy of flow is like a river, and a river a river that's flowing, it can't be constrained. Otherwise, we'd never have floods, right? So rivers, even though we think we're doing this really good job, one rainstorm, one hurricane can show you how not in control you are when things get to flowing, especially water. So this is about how if we mimic what's going on with water will flow around, through, over, under the obstacles that are presented along its path. Water doesn't give up, right? It doesn't give up and just go, right? I'm not going anywhere. It doesn't do that. Instead, it takes the route, it goes with the flow. Where is the flow taking it? That is where it goes. So what does that mean for us? Well, where the energy is taking you, let it flow. This is also the energy of bringing spirit and matter in the 3D world that we're in at the moment together, right? So that we can see the potential for evolution or for ascension, if you will, even. So here it is, a time where we may be moving between the very mystical spiritual world and the very third dimensional physical environment that we live in at the moment. So it's almost like standing at the precipice, you know, that if you any of you are familiar with the Rider-Waite tarot deck, it is the energy of the world, right? The world where she's standing at the precipice of a portal, right? A portal or a gateway energy. So we have this gateway energy where we're bringing in the energy from spirit or God or source and anchoring it here in the physical realm. And that the physical realm is also bleeding over a little bit into the spiritual realm, as if to remind us we are one, right? That you are not just a physical body and you are not just the spiritual entity, but you are both, right? You are heart and soul and mind, right? So all of that together. So we're finding a balance on Saturday between these realms. Now, it's also healing energy. So just a caveat I always say when we get into healing energy is that to be a healer, right, to work through these energies that may be presenting you, that being presented to you this weekend, you have to first be clear yourself, right? So you can't, if you don't clear yourself, you cannot be a conduit of healing for others, right? So you have to work through your own goo. You have to work through your own muck. And once you do that, then you become a clear channel for being able to help others. All right. So hopefully that's understandable to everybody. Okay. Any other comments or questions about anything we've talked about so far this morning before I go into Sunday? And then I'm going to take some time and do some card readings. Sunday, I'll come back to Facebook and check and see questions here in a minute. Let me get to Sunday so that we can do some readings. Sunday, the moon is in Gemini. Actually, it comes into Gemini later on Saturday, but Sunday's the first full day of the moon in Gemini. Now, I was looking at this, and everything to do with Gemini is about socializing, being the social butterfly, right? Being engaged in conversation and movement and flitting from one thing to another. It's very social energy. So how do you deal with sociability in a social distance era? Right? That was my question to myself because I'm a Gemini, right? So I'm asking myself, well, how do I deal with sociability in a social distance era? What I found myself this morning is kind of pining for a connection to my grandkids, right? Right now they're out of school and I'm thinking to myself, well, I can't just like go over to their houses. We're not supposed to be going over to their houses and visiting them or showing up. So I went, duh, FaceTime, Zoom, phone calls. Of course, they don't take calls. Grandkids don't take calls, right? They don't do that. That's so last century, right? They do Zoom. I don't even know if they do Zoom. That might be too slow for them. I think they're usually FaceTiming or Instagramming or, things like that. Social media. They're very social media savvy. They own the social media, as Gemini energy also owns social media and the internet and all of that. So we have to rely on our technologies during this moon in Gemini to keep in contact with one another. Don't be afraid to do that, right? Don't be afraid. If you've got an iPhone, you've got FaceTime. I don't know what Androids have, but I'm guessing they have something that you can use to talk with one another. There's Zoom. There are many ways that we can connect. Messenger has a calling, a video chatting. There's Skype. There's all kinds of stuff, right? So our reliance on technology in this moon in Gemini is going to be the way it has to go for social distancing purposes, right? We can't just like pop over to each other's houses and, shoot the breeze or, have dinner together, etc. Now, how do we keep mentally flexible during the time that we're in, right? During times of bad news, how do we engage in the world? How do we keep mentally fit, mentally flexible? One, turn off the news. Don't listen, right? La, 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 right? It's all rhetoric. It's all he said, she said, blaming, shaming, guilt tripping, worry, anxiety. It's all out there, right? if you're going to look for the news, go to the Good News Network, right? The Good News Network, I shared that a few months back. It's got wonderful news stories, even positive things that are happening along the coronavirus, technologies that are showing promise, or vaccines and things like that showing promise, or treatments, etc. So go for the good news, right? Don't get yourself caught up in the bad news. Look for good news. Look beneath or behind what's being said. Look for the good in the message. Be flexible in where you look for information. I'm telling you, Fox News isn't the place. I'm telling you, MSNBC isn't just the place, right? You have to look deeper than that. If you're someone who wants to really know, right? You Sagittarians out there, you really want to know. Wherever you have Sagittarius in your chart, that's where you really want to know. Find a holistic way of finding your information, right? Yes, there are places out there. There are scientists out there that make things easy for you to understand. There are philosophical people out there that are looking at this in new and different ways. I shared a few videos yesterday about self-love with Bruce Lipton, and who was the other one I shared? I think it was Greg Braden, maybe. Well, I don't know. I just was yesterday. People are sending me things, and I'm sending them back out. So much stuff that we could be looking at that is helpful and hopeful and optimistic, without being Pollyanna-ish or ignoring the obvious that people are dying and that type of thing. So look at where it is that you're getting your information, right? Don't be spoon-fed the things that the news would love you to hear, which is all the doom and the gloom and the sad and the bad. Let's be better than that. Now, motion. Gemini energy is very much about movement and motion. Where do I go and what can I do in this time of social distancing, or in self-quarantine, or in, I can't remember the other phrase, the stay home, stay healthy. That one keeps annoying me, just sort of goes away. So what can I do? Right? If I can't just go out into the state parks, or I can't just go, where I usually go, what can I do? You can walk, you can bike, you can jog, you can dance, right? You could put on music and just have your own little dance festival going on. You could turn on FaceTime and have a dance festival with your friends. Get creative, do things that you can do, even while, get your body moving, even while it is that you're meant to be home and not going out. Garden. That's another thing. Debbie Tibbetts-Tumiel and I were having a conversation about the garden yesterday, showing me wonderful pictures of her roses, and we were talking about sunflowers, gardening. I know our climate here in the north is a little tricky, dicey at the moment, but we can still get outside, right? We can still plan, build something. I was thinking about building a birdhouse, and I was thinking about building my own. I want to grow herbs, and I was thinking, how could I build my own, herb garden without having to go to the store and buy what I would need to buy, right? What do I have around here that I could use? I have pots from last year's flowers that I might be able to use. My husband always has access to wood. Could we build something? So get creative, explore, things that you have at home, get creative, explore new ideas. Pinterest is my new friend. Not that it's not, I just totally forgot about Pinterest, but it is one of the social medias out there where new ideas can be found, where interesting recipes can be found. And yesterday I found a wonderful recipe for a beef stew, and I made that for dinner last night, and it was awesome. So experiment, do new things, right? Take this time to enjoy just the simple pleasures that you can't normally do. Watch out for anxiety born out of thinking, right? Your mind can sometimes be your worst enemy, where your mind gets spun out. And Gemini, in the more negative energy, is that anxiety from overthinking, from focusing on the negative, or focusing on one thing too long. Watch out for scattering your energy, and also watch out for nervousness, losing focus, right? That anxiety can actually translate into the physical when the moon is in Gemini, in terms of nervousness, shaking and jittery and that kind of thing. All right. Tomorrow, or Sunday's 7 seeing Pleiadian-Earth energy, and seeing energy in the Mayan calendar was men. It was the representation of the eagle who soars high above and sees all, sees the details and the big picture alike. So the energy on Sunday is about our merging realities. Remember, 7 is our gateway. That is the portal between, it's that stopping point. It is the halfway point of the Pleiadian-Earth energy week. How well are you managing the energy of feeling, which was the umbrella energy for the 13 days that started back on the one feeling day 7 days ago, right? We're at that halfway point now. And now we get to look and see how well we've merged all of the things that we've learned, and how are we working with that energy. This is men energy, gives us new perspectives, new ways of looking at things. Watch out for making rash decisions or taking action based on those gut, knee-jerk things. So watch out for that on Sunday as well. Okay, going back over here, let's take a look and see if we have questions. Ilaria says, I'm going to offer free online cosmic yoga classes, woohoo, to help move all these energies and go back to your heart. Then you hashtag stay home, stay safe. It becomes also hashtag stay heart centered. I love it. So Ilaria, I would want your website, or at least where you're going to broadcast that, because I think that people might like that. Amy says, that is so funny. I set an alarm labeled dance party on my iPhone today for every 3 hours to play What is Love by Hathaway. I love it. The other thing that I have that I think you guys can get online even right now is there's a company called Beachbody, and they had this really hunky, lovely man whose name escapes me, Sean something. What is his name? Anyway, he did this thing called Dancercise. And I have all of the CDs or the DVDs, and he actually teaches you dance moves. And then by the time that you're done, not only have you gotten really great exercise, but you've also got a dance routine, and that you get to dance to. It feels very like that you've accomplished something, right? So you've accomplished 2 things, exercise and fun, and also movement. So moving that energy, and he's luscious to look at, so it's not such a bad thing to do. So we've got that. Lex says, I hope I'm allowed to offer this here. If anyone is lonely or needs a friend to talk to in this stressful time, feel free to PM me. I'm happy to chat and make new friends. Lex, you are absolutely allowed to share this here. And I don't know how you want, if you want to share a website or your, Facebook, people can get a hold of you here. That's awesome. And Ilaria, it is just me having Sun, North Node, Venus in the 12th house, plus Jupiter, Mercury in the 11th house. That is feeling like I need to go out and help everyone. Yeah, the 12th house. So interesting, Venus in the 12th house and the Sun in the North Node in the 12th house. There's a lot that you're doing behind the scenes to support people in relationships, to support people and finding their destinies or their life path, as well as finding what it is that they're good at. And you're sort of the power behind the throne, if you will. And then the 11th house, Jupiter and Mercury, wants to be out in community. So I would say, without even knowing what your actual Mayan sign or Pleiadian-Earth energy sign is, I would bet you are very community focused as opposed to wider world or one-on-one focused. And that Jupiter in the 12th house sees you working with groups of people. Maybe it is a yoga class, or maybe it is a study group or something like that. So that makes sense, I think, based on what it is that you've been offering and what you've been sharing with us this morning. Okay, so let's see. I have 10 minutes. Okay, if you would like a card reading, I have spirit animals. I have the wisdom of the oracle. I have dragons, which I love my dragons. And I also have goddess cards. So let me know if you would like a reading. And I'll take notes of who that is. And if you could tell me what deck you want, or just if you want to leave it up to me. Ilaria says, I am a white crystal dog and a generator 2-4 plus Italian. Of course you're Italian with a name like Ilaria, right? And Alves, is your last name. Linda Marie, goddess card. Gotcha. So let's let it run for a minute here. Linda Marie, goddesses. Tom, card, Woto. Debbie Tibbetts, Debbie TT. Wants, oh, Debbie, that just ran by too fast. Natasha, Dragon. Monique, goddess. Where's my Marissa this morning? She's so good at making me stay organized. Deb Johnson, Dragon. And Dusa, goddess. Okay, that gives me a good start here. If I missed anybody, my apologies. I'll check back again. Okay, so let's start with Linda Marie, who would like a goddess card. The goddess deck. This is a deck of cards. I got to go back to Zoom. Hold on, because I can't really see what I'm doing here. There we go. The goddess deck. This is by Colette Baron Reed. It comes in a beautiful box. And inside the box is the book. And then the deck of cards is beneath the book. And so I keep her packed up. Protected. Okay, so Linda Marie, this is for you. And remember, the goddess cards give us an alignment message if it's upside down and an empowerment message when it's right side up. So we'll see. Oh, this one is getting stuck. Spider Woman. And she's right side up. Spider Woman is card 48, which is a 12, which is a 3. Creator, creative energy. And look, she represents co-creation. So let's take a look at what her message is for you. And just look at the beauty of that card. I mean, it's striking. Okay, 48. And let's see here. From the rich red earth, the Navajo goddess Spider Woman rises up to help you weave your dreams into the fabric of reality. She is here to remind you that your vision of the form of your desire is not as important as its essence. Knowing why you want to create something, what motivates you, what inspires you, and what beauty you're dreaming to bring to life is key at this time. The collective dream is being manifested by the co-creative relationship between your imagination and the universe. So call to the best within you and weave your world into being with intentionality and humility. Remember that you can't control the form. Accept life on life's terms. When the goddess Spider Woman appears, she heralds the creation of a most beautiful dream that springs to life as if by magic. Stay with it. We need your dream to be added to the web of all creation. Wow. Very nice. Now, you know, if you're someone who's not receiving a reading this morning, don't think that you're not receiving, right? Every time that I do readings for other people, I know that this card is also meant for me, right? There's a message. There are hidden messages here, right? That just other people appear to be receiving the message for them, but it's really for all of us, even those of you out there listening to me on Blog Talk later on today, or those of you who see this on YouTube later today, you are receiving the energy of these readings as well. All right, Tom, you're up early today, Tom. He knew it was Friday's readings day. So Tom wanted a Wisdom of the Oracle, also by Colette Baron Reed. And the Wisdom of the Oracle deck is one of my, as you can tell, I use this deck quite a bit. It's getting frayed. So Tom, this would be your message as well as anybody else's or everybody else's even. Wow, these are a wild bunch of cards today. They just want to jump all over the place. Settle down. Oh, and they just jumped out as a pair. Nope, it's just one. I thought it was a pair. It sounded more ploppy than that. So here's your card, 47, which is an 11, which is light, you know, illumination. Go the distance. It's our cheetah. So go the distance, Tom, and everyone else. 47. And it was right side up. The essential meaning of the card is endurance, strength, the long haul. And the message says, to bring your dream to life, you must think long term and pay no attention to the fluctuations in the current of your experience. Joy and disappointment commingle with opportunities, so there is no need to fear the occasional obstacle. Life is not a sprint. This card is a reminder that you have endurance, you have strength, and the fortitude to carry you all the way. Remain true to yourself. Your authenticity alone will keep you in alignment with the energy of miracles. What is yours will never be withheld from you. Remember that. Love that card. We had this last week too. I don't remember. I don't think it was you, but someone had this card last week. So it seems to be a message that we need to hear maybe over again. Okay, Linda, we did yours. Tom, Debbie. I need to go back because I wonder if you told me what you would like. Lex says, haha, hilariously, I've been seeing spiders everywhere. There you go, Amy. And I actually might have time. I'm going to put you down, Amy, just in case I have time for you. And you're welcome, Linda. And Debbie Tibbetts, I totally forgot what card deck you wanted. So I'm going to go with our favorite Woto for you. And let's see what we get. Debbie Tibbetts Tumiel. We have lots of Debs that listen to us in the morning here. Whoa, Debbie, this one wants to come out. Time for a nap. Go back to Zoom again so I can show you the card. Time for a nap. It was upside down, so it was in protection. Time for a nap, a snoozy. So let's see what that means for you. See what it means for all of us. Time for a nap. And it says, so the essential meaning of the card is rest, rejuvenation, renewal, a temporary non-action, allowing dreams to arise. And in protection, it says, you are a human being, not a human doing. Is it possible you're suffering from workaholism? Could you be the one who thinks it's your job to save everyone, to be there for everyone, and to go, go, go until you can hardly see straight? You've gone as far as you can. You've worked hard and nourished people and projects, but now you are an empty well and have no reserves for others or for yourself. Don't let your ego keep you going full speed when your body and spirit need rest. Exhaustion is calling you to stop what you're doing altogether and take a break. If you don't, the appearance of this card could portend a possible illness that stems from being totally overwhelmed. You will feel like a new person if you take that break. Do it now. I love that. We should all be taking breaks, right? I think, if anything, this time shows us how caught up in the world of doing that we've all been, right? That all of us together have been in. Natasha would like a dragon. So Natasha, let me get my dragon cards out. Again, this is a deck that Debbie Tibbetts Tumiel sent to me. It is by Judith Cooper, I believe. Diana Cooper. Sorry, Diana Cooper. And the Dragon Oracle cards. Okay, so, and they're beautiful cards as well. Dimensional. These guys are dimensional. We go through the 5th dimension, the 7th dimension, the 9th dimension. And for you, Natasha, you get a royal blue and gold dragon. It strengthens you to stand in your power with wisdom, awaken to your own majesty, wear your cloak of power with pride. I think that's quite the appropriate card for you. The royal blue and gold dragon. Okay, so let me find what that means for you. And what I like about this deck is it gives you information on the dragon first, right? So like I look at that and go, what does a royal blue and gold dragon mean? Well, we're going to find out. Besides, then we have a message from that dragon to you. So royal blue and gold dragon is a 5th dimensional dragon. Page 70 in the book. Okay, so here is what you need to know about your dragon. Royal blue and gold are the colors of majesty, dignity, and illumined achievement. Royal blue and gold dragons carry these qualities and prompt us to stand in our magnificence and true power. These 5th dimensional dragons come to us when they see royal blue and gold in our aura, indicating that we hold wisdom with power in perfect balance, which has been earned from our connections with the golden era of Atlantis. We may have been incarnate or in spirit at that time, but we were living or serving on a higher path. The dragons will swirl around us, reminding us who we truly are and breathing light into our energy fields to reawaken our ancient gifts and talents so that we can utilize them once more in service. They will re-energize our cloak of power and wisdom so that we can wear it with pride. Guidance from your dragon. A royal blue and gold dragon is lighting up the gifts and talents you carry in your aura. It is breathing courage, support, and dignity into you so that you can wear your cloak of power and wisdom with pride. Most important of all, it is awakening you to who you truly are. It is enabling you to radiate your special light. This dragon is always with you. It holds your sword of truth, so Archangel Michael can enable you to speak and act with truth and honor at all times. It roars at those who try to diminish you and befriends those who empower you. You have all the support you need to teach divine majesty by example. Wow. Just wow. That's a really good card. I think that's perfect for you, Natasha. I'm so glad that I was able to bring that to you. Monique would like a goddess card. I'm moving my coffee out of the way so I don't spill it all over the place. I have priors there. Mimi, one day you and I were talking, remember, and I spilled my coffee everywhere. Now, this is for Monique Alexander. More. Oh, you have a couple here. You have a little bit of a story going here, Monique. So you got two cards. One is Morgan, Death and Magic, card number 37. She's actually quite beautiful. This, you can't really see it, I think, or at least I can't tell if you guys can see it. She's done in purples and blacks, and she's quite striking. So Morgan, Death and Magic. And then also the goddess Metis, which is upside down, but she is the goddess of wisdom. And she's also quite beautiful, but she was in an alignment message. So let's see what this means for you, Madam Monique. Okay, so Morgan is number 37, which is a 1, really, when you get it all down to the lowest common number. And that's like a new beginning. So let's see. And I'm going to read the empowerment message because this was right side up. Consider your life a magical gift and your experience of it a beautiful opportunity to leave the world a better place. You give that gift back when death comes and ends your time on this plane. Experiences, relationships, projects, and even long-cherished dreams are all subject to the natural laws of death and the magic of the Celtic goddess Morrigan. Now is the time for you to let certain parts of your life die and to recognize this process as something to celebrate as well as to mourn. Let go with love and gratitude. Leave your fears behind, for in death there is great magic, as nothing can ever be truly destroyed. From the ashes of the old, a new life and new dreams will come to be. Face this time of dying and death with love and courage. Be willing to be empty. Soon, the goddess Morgan will fill you up with magic and a new world will be born for you. This is her gift for you when you surrender your resistance and allow things to be as they are. And then with the wisdom goddess, Metis, she was upside down. So she is giving you an alignment message. The goddess Metis learned a painful lesson long ago and does not want you to go through the same experience. She chose to make herself small, dim her life force and inner light, and reduce her power to keep love. Who or what in your life is causing you to do the same? Do you dim yourself out of fear of reprisal, or because you have a sense that you are unworthy and unlovable, or because you have a sense that you are too smart or too much? The goddess Metis, or Metis, I'm not sure which, offers an important alignment task. You must face this fear, this anxiety, and say a resounding no. Even in the face of the greater story of cultural conditioning, be brave and courageous and ask how you can be a part of the solution. Playing small is an excuse not to be accountable for your personal power and to not be effective in the world. You have an abundance of life force energy in you, so come out of the shadows and let yourself shine. Take the risk and bring your wisdom to the world. We need you. Whoa, I'd say you have a task ahead of you, girlfriend. Let that light shine. Okay, Deb Johnson wanted a dragon card. Dragons for Deb Johnson. Let's see what you get. These cards are newer, so they're a little stickier. Oh, hey, well, this one just slid into being. The Earth Dragon clears your path and the land around you. Stay grounded, be ready to serve. Stuck energy is clearing. You can move forward in life. So you have an Earth Dragon. And again, these beautiful colors in this card, the blue, striking blue energy. You can see in the symbols, in the rocks and up the arm of the dragon, up the tail of the dragon, bright blue. Okay, so Earth Dragon. And what I do, there it is. Earth Dragon is a fourth dimensional dragon. Woohoo! Page 18. And this is your dragon. Fourth dimensional Earth dragons are brown, the color of the soil. They love the planet and the land itself. It was these sturdy dragons who helped to build the original dragon lines that we now call ley lines. Part of their service work is to travel along them to clear them when they are asked to do so. When we send an instruction to the Earth dragons to work with the ley lines, they can power away under the surface to clear any blockages. This impacts hugely on people and situations in the vicinity. They can also help to ground us and our mission in this life. And here is your guidance from the dragon. It is time to clear unwanted energies that are preventing your life from moving forward. Some of these may be in the earth, under your home or office, where you travel. Call on the Earth dragons and ask them to remove all that is not in accordance with divine light. Then sense the frequency rising within the land and on your path. This card also suggests you may be called on to do planetary service work, as the Earth dragons will take the opportunity to cleanse any ley lines you focus on. Take a moment to direct them to clear the planetary grid and visualize the grid glowing and shimmering. When you walk, think of the Earth dragons and connect with them through the earth. Ask them to ground you and your vision, for this card signifies that they are now boosting your spiritual journey and you are ready to fly. Notice the progress you are making. I think that's a great card too. Okay, that was Deb Johnson's card. Dusa would like a goddess card. So let's pull one for you, my friend, and see what we get. Goddess cards. Ooh, you also have a story. You've got two cards. Both of them are in upside down, so alignment messages for you. One is Epona, which is about wise leadership. Wise leadership. She's card number 14. And maybe if I hold it back, maybe you see it better. She's a 5 for you. And the other goddess is Gula, which says healing. She's card number 18. I don't think we've had her before. And she was also in alignment. So let's take a look and see what those say for you. 14. And in an alignment message. So being overly assertive and determined to take action is not in your favor at this time. If you feel afraid of making a mistake or worried that you will somehow compromise yourself or disappoint someone else, consider this a time to regroup and assess the details. As the goddess Epona knows, not all paths are meant to be explored. Not all battles are meant to be fought. Not all opportunities will pan out. Beware of the tendency to overreach. You have come a long way, and the best leader knows when to take a break. Your task is to hold back and to breathe deeply, trusting fully that when the time comes to act, the goddess Epona will guide you. You don't want to act too soon out of fear and insecurity, or even by hubris, as you will surely slip and lose your stance. Take heart, for this is the perfect moment for a timeout to see what the goddess Epona truly has for you. The divine has you safe and secure. You just need to wait. I think that's a great message right now. 18 is what the goddess Gula is. She was also upside down. Here she is. this beautiful goddess of healing. And here's your alignment message. The goddess Gula calls you to recognize that you're running on empty. You have nothing left to give. You have reached the end of the road, and you must stop what you are doing and consider the implications of your actions run amok. Do you need to set better boundaries around your enthusiastic tendency to say yes to everything? Have you allowed others to drain you because you feel it's your job to listen, to love them, and to fix them? Do your close companions cling to their victim stories and continue to impose them on you? Your alignment task is to step back and assess what is true and make new choices, and maybe put yourself first. There's a concept. You will be glad you did. Just remember, it is sometimes the healing choice to take a break and only focus on you for a change. I think that's a pretty powerful message. 2 cards giving you somewhat the same information. Not the time to make a decision. Maybe not your circus, not your monkeys. Take a break. All right, that was for you, Dusa. And Amy, let me go over here to Facebook and see if you happen to say what kind of card you wanted. You're welcome, Deb. She's been working on staying grounded, so that's good. It works for her. Thank you. From Natasha. Great. Oof, Lex. Oh my goodness, faced fear this morning. Awesome, Monique. Okay, so Amy, I don't know what deck you want, but I'm suggesting for you that it might be a goddess card. So let's do goddess as well for Amy Moore. I'm not sure if you're still out there. I don't see you, but I can't tell for sure. So let's do it anyway. And then you can always listen later. Okay, goddess. Wow. So I'm getting Gaia for you. She is, hold on, the phone. She is upside down. Gaia. She represents Earth. While I was shuffling that deck, though, I also heard she needs a dragon. So I'm going to pull a dragon as well. I always try to listen when something like that happens, rather than my mind going, that's dumb. So you're going to get a card from a different deck as well, which might take a little bit of extra time, but hopefully everybody will hang with us here, and we'll get this for Amy. Amy gets an alpha dragon. Interesting. An alpha dragon is one that harnesses the divine masculine power of creation. Destroy the old, visualize your dream, and help to manifest a new world. So here was the dragon. It's an alpha dragon. And you had Earth representing the feminine. This one represents the masculine. How funny is that? So let's see what those cards say. The goddess first, because she was the first one. She's number 16, which is the 7. And she was an alignment message for you. So here we go, Amy. When you scatter your energy and allow fear to take root, you can become ungrounded or out of touch with your environment. You become disconnected from your true nature as a spiritual being having a human experience. The need now is to look at the cracks in the foundation of the life you've built. When even one aspect of your life is out of alignment, it affects everything else. Ground yourself with Gaia, the Earth Mother. She wants you to enjoy creating the world you live in. Your alignment task is to take a fearless inventory of where, how, and with whom you live your life. Is your energy draining from the choices you are making? Do you accept less than your value? Your efforts must now be put to repair the foundation of your life and begin again. You will be so thrilled with the results and wonder why you didn't do it sooner. The goddess Gaia is supporting your every move. Very good. Now let's see what the dragon has to do with all of this for you. The alpha dragon, I would say Gaia is the alpha feminine, and now we have the alpha, i.e. masculine. And I've got to find him first here. The alpha dragon is a 9th dimensional dragon on page 106. Way back here. 9th dimensional alpha dragon. Okay. So about your dragon. These incredible galactic dragons carry Archangel Metatron's highest light. They helped to create the universe that we live in and continue to breathe the yang energy of manifestation into our world. Because they have the power of physical manifestation, they work with our thoughts when we, or the collective mind of humanity, are ready to bring something into creation. These are enormous and powerful dragons. They only work for the highest good. As they can build, they can also destroy. They are entering our world now at the end of the old era and the start of the new to facilitate the destruction of that which no longer serves our planet and the construction of a new world at a much higher frequency. Here's your guidance. Alpha dragons are bringing you a very special message. You are being called to demonstrate creative forces in your current project or experience. So ask these magnificent beings to assist you and know that their masculine energy will empower and strengthen you as you visualize what you want to build. You can also ask these dragons to support you in constructing our new fifth dimensional world. As you hold the vision of the new golden age, they can take your pictures and breathe life into them. This is a card of raw power and creation. So ensure that your intentions are pure. Wow. I'm so glad I listened to that voice that said she needs a dragon. All right, everybody. That is it. It is after 9. I need to get moving. Debbie Hedden, good morning. Have a great weekend, everybody. Amy, oh, wow, that's crazy. I was thinking that I wanted a dragon and a goddess, but didn't ask. Well, I picked up that message and the universe gave it to me. So there you have that. Okay, so remember, the weekend is about gaining a new perspective, staying cool and calm, and enjoying each other's company, loving one another, being supportive of one another. That is the best, the highest that we can be, and who we should be even in these times that are crazy. Sending you all much love. Have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday, where Mars is moving into Aquarius. So we have a weekend where it would be very much helpful if everybody took notes about what they're seeing or about what they're experiencing, or what they're noticing, what's popping up in your frame of reference. And we'll share those on Monday. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.